Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cantina MX Football Podcast. We're on episode 454, streaming live on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube. This will be further distributed to your favorite podcasting app later tonight. But tonight's episode is all about the coaching fire sale they had since our last episode. Tigres got rid of their coach. Chivas got rid of their coach. Pumas have a new coach. Everybody gets a new coach. I feel like Oprah right now. We also have Champions Cup action underway. Pumas and Tigres both had matches tomorrow. The big one between America and Chivas. And of course, Cruz Azul versus Seattle Sounders. But before we go any further, want to welcome my good friend, FC Gorditos. How we doing?
What's going on, Jaime? I'm doing good. Ready, like always, talk about this Gerardo Espinosa and all the other coaches that have come into the carousel.
I know. It's crazy how things can change in just a week. We had Chivas play the day before my birthday. My birthday was for them to win. Instead, they got their shit pushed in by San Luis. And you know, we're losing 3-0. Things are looking gloom and doom. The coach, I believe, was even sent to the hospital. That's how bad things were. And what does Chicharito do? He brings back one goal. He scores one goal. His second goal for the club since we signed him a year ago. And what does this fucking guy do? He puts his finger to his lips and says, shh. Yo, he's got to get his head checked, man. What's going on there?
That was fucking ridiculous. I'm like, bro, you can't be celebrating those kind of goals. Vas perdiendo 3-1. Why? You only got one single goal. El de la honra, I guess, but I wouldn't celebrate that shit.
I was like, to who is that? Who is he shushing? Is it the fans? Is it the media? Is it his demons that he's fighting in his head? Like, who is he pointing that towards, man? I need to know.
His imaginary ops, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Se lo está dedicando a su gran amigo Dreyfus.
Le lavaron el coco, man. I don't know who this guy is.
Dude, it sucks, man.
But on the come up, they did play on my birthday weekend against Pumas. It was unbearable to watch. But somehow, some way, man, they pull off a goal in the 92nd minute and get the victory. I'm sure if you're a Pumas fan, you're very unhappy with how that all unfolded. But, hey, I will take 3 points any day of the week.
Definitely. My boy, Luis Rey, scored his first goal. Got us the 3 points. That's all we could ask for now.
Yeah, and that was, I guess, officially Oscar Garcia's last match as coach of Chivas. There was already rumors saying that he was going to get dismissed, and we had to wait until, I think, yesterday or the day before for it to officially come out. But he has been relieved of his duties, and Chivas, in a bigger scale, have gotten rid of anybody Spanish. Like, if you're Spanish, man, get the fuck out.
Dude, for real. All the Spaniards were sent back to their houses. Hey, váyanse la chingada. They're cleaning house. They cleaned house with all those Spaniards.
We can officially say that the Fernando Hierro project is officially dead. No more of his underlings. Nobody left except for Wale. Must be awkward as fuck for him.
Fuck, man. Poor guy. Imagínate, he's in the locker room. He's like, man, ¿y ahora?
What do I do? ¿Qué voy a hacer?
Exactly. What about, boss, ¿qué voy a hacer? Ya me tengo que ir.
He's like, damn, man, you guys could have took me with you.
For real, man.
And, you know, I think we were going to be like, okay, we're probably going to have an interim until the end of the season. Why now? Why before the biggest matches of this season. We're just about to play America in the Champions Cup. It's an elimination, series. Like, why do this now? Why not wait until the end of the season, and that way we can actually hire somebody that we can genuinely get? Almada. I think his contract with Pachuca ends after the Club World Cup. It's like, bro, that is the fucking guy we need. Like, why make these rash decisions now? Who is Gerardo Espinoza? I don't know if Rivaldo's on yet, but maybe he can give us some more light on this. But why, man?
Hey, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone, and happy late birthday, Jaime. I'm sorry Chivas lost. Shitty gift by them. But I was watching the Pumas Chivas game, and I heard your guys' comments on it, and I just wanted to emphasize that it was like two headless chickens going at each other. Both teams were without a coach. I think this was Efrain Juarez's first game for Pumas tonight in the CONCACAF Champions League, which he won 2-0. But this game, Pumas and Chivas, was such an awful game.
It was.
It really
horrible.
was.
Bro, it was, dude, I fell asleep 3 times during that game. I was like, huh? What's going on? Oh, they're still 0-0? I dije, let me snooze off for a couple more minutes. Dude, for real, I was like, man, this game is unbearable.
It reminded me of a U23 match where it was like no team can impose themselves, kind of chaotic, kind of fast-tempoed, like in the middle. And when I looked up the jóvenes, there was 14 kids in this match, and I was like, oh, that's why it felt like a U23 match. It's because there's a bunch of kids playing. But I saw Alex Padilla, and everything that I loved about him when he was filling in at the start of the season in Spain for Bilbao, it looks like he forgot it. It looks like he's a different guy, and he looks like maybe he's a really good shot stopper, but he does a lot of weird, dumb, naive stuff in between the posts, and I really didn't like him, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get benched. Even in the goal, it's not like his first set piece goal. I think it's like his third or fourth in I don't know, that many matches, which I think is just shows you that ineptitude as far as goalkeeping is concerned.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say, it seems like Alex Padilla is como dumbing down his skill to fit the Liga itself. Wouldn't you? If for me, it feels that way. I don't know for you if it feels that way or not. Because dude, he was showing really good potential allá in Athletic.
It feels like he's a different player, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's nerves. Maybe he's outside of his comfort zone. Maybe he's like Oscar Garcia. He's got an upset tummy, and
Montezuma's curse.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't like him, and hopefully he can turn it around. They got another kid called Emilio Lara, 19-year-old. Padilla's 21. He just won that spot from him, so we'll see if he can keep it. But yeah, you guys were talking about the end of the Spaniards at Chivas, and I do think it's like they decolonized. I guess we can call it decolonization of Chivas. And as far as Espinosa is concerned, he won Tapatío, so he's like this guy with the youth. And there was rumors of him becoming the coach at the start of the season. And now he's doing it as an interim, and we'll see what he can do. I'm hopeful because I didn't like the Oscar project. I don't know about you guys.
So, am I tripping, or they're presenting him like the new head coach? This is not interim, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's a head coach position.
Buenas putos.
Abdias, welcome to the show, man.
Yes.
Estoy
no me escondo. Pero antes que nada hablar de esto. It's the Mexican Soccer League, guys. Everything is an interim coach. You need any more than 6 game weeks. All right, this is as much as you're gonna get guaranteed, and is nothing more game of chance. So you still have your shot to go for Alba. All right, like let's doom and gloom into this. Yeah, this is
Sorry, Diaz, you kind of sounded
You're
like
breaking up, sir.
a
You
robot
you know
there.
what gets me about this Chivas season is that like it's another season that's a wash. Last tournament was a wash when Gago dipped out, and now this season or this tournament is a wash because we can't stand Oscar Garcia anymore, and so like it's just a whole wasted year. It's
Hundred
bad
percent.
management from the top to the bottom of this institution, and so it's just one of the things that just really grinds my gears about Chivas right now. Sad state of affairs.
Yeah, like
Dude, how
I
much
don't get
does
it.
Amari really know about the like day to day going on at Chivas? It seems like he's oblivious to everything.
I know he wasn't he like
I'll be
I
honest
feel
with
like
you. I don't
go
much,
ahead.
but
hello?
to know the day functions of his organization. But the one thing is that lincharon muchos huevos.
Yeah, Diaz, I couldn't hear you. I think you're breaking up.
You're breaking up, Diaz.
I wasn't sure if it was me or if it was you guys, but I couldn't hear Abdias.
It's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Rifalo, I'm like 100% with you. I think it was an
Se
impulsive
nos fue.
I think it was an impulsive decision. Like why do this right now at the midway through the season?
Going on.
Can you guys hear me?
But yeah, in spite of that, like all this trouble with like the management and the direction in which Chivas is going, we do have a lot of promising kids, and but there's some people that are underperforming. Like in this last match, I thought Castillo was bad, and I think he's been bad a lot of this tournament. And we haven't really said anything about him because he was so good for us like last year.
Yeah.
And I really do see a dip in form from this guy, and it's concerning. Was it the system? Is it where they're playing him? Because you can play.
Uh-oh. Lost contact. Sorry about that, folks. Not sure. We're having technical difficulties, but we're trying to get everyone back in the room. Elon Musk is addressing Congress right now, so he's probably not paying too much attention to Twitter. Doesn't care about his stepchild. But we're trying to get back Aaron here.
Doge está diciendo que estamos gastando mucho.
Yeah, dude. But no, I mean, look, I just feel like I feel like the impulsive decision to do this now is a little bit irresponsible and kind of shows how fucked up things are in the front office of Chivas. As far as like Amauri's day to day with the team, I'm not sure. I think he like was at one of the matches or something. Like he's starting to be more involved. But yeah, I don't agree with doing this right now in the middle of the season. Again, just ruining another season for us, and then also like giving this new coach the pressure of having to play America 3 times in this month. Who knows if this guy even survives that? Like, if we get embarrassed by America in the Conca Champions and then in the league, I don't see this Gerardo Espinosa coming back from that.
Well, hence why I said you're only guaranteed up to 6 matches. All right. Everything else is up in the air. And as I was saying before, it was the fact that I don't think Amaury knows exactly what goes into the day-to-day dealings of his club. But the one thing that I'm happiest about is the fact that finally se le hincharon los pinches huevos and he has started to do business the way his dad did, holding people accountable and telling them what is the expectation of Chivas. Because even with this new head coach, man, hey, don't worry. Chivas already made their once in every 10-year appearance at the final. You're good and you're able to shit the bed for another, 8 years since it's been that long? So you have some time to kick the can down the road, especially when you're thinking about replacing that coach at the next transfer window.
Dude, I really think that the powers that be were afraid que con Oscar they were íbamos a perder like really badly versus America. We were gonna literally quedar como 5-0, 4-0, and probably another freaking 3-0.
America's looking so good. I really do hate to say it, but I just saw them like dismantle Toluca. Who's a better team than us? Right now, in spite of them like not being as good as they were last season. But like, I do not see like a good outcome in these next 3 matches, and it really is it's like they're sacrificing the youth coach. Like what? Like this isn't like a favor, like or like a big break for him. This is like a trial. Like I don't know. Like basically like feeding him to the wolves.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely not a favor.
They've done this before. They did this with Ricardo Cadena, right? And where is he now? It's like we do this with all of our Tapatio or youth coaches. We burn them. And I know that in the press conference they said, "Oh, Gerardo's very familiar with like they named off like 5 or 6 players from the current first team. How like he knows them very well and he debuted them and all this stuff." So, I do believe that this is a little bit of course correction. At least he's familiar with the players, knows how to utilize them. But it's such an impossible job to go into your first game against America. It's like, fuck, bro. Like, couldn't you guys wait until the end of the season to do this type of shit? Like, it must have been really bad in the locker room or something for this to happen.
That is one bright side, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Like, we're going to see more of the young kids play, and that's volatile for, like, points and winning games. Like, these kids are good one day, and then the next, they disappear or they get a red card like Castillo or they do an autogol like Gamberos, right? And so, like, that might, like, complicate our lives a bit and then sour like the progress of some of these young kids, which is troubling. I'm not sure what you guys think about that.
Look, man, I'm all for playing the youth players and having them fail and fail fast. Like, that's the only way they're gonna get the experience. At this point, I would be okay with us like having a try to salvage this season. Because we're right now we're in 10th position. We might get into the play-in. I would chop up this Champions Cup. I don't think we're gonna beat America. So it's like, if anything, at least like seeing more and more young players get the spotlight. Because Chicha scoring a goal, his second goal in 1 year since we signed him, is not doing anyone fucking favors. I'd rather see Hormiga out there playing with Pulido and shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of players on here that, dude, just like, why are you still here?
Hold on. So am I hearing that you're already lubing up in lieu of these 3 clásicos that you have coming up in your calendar?
You'd have to be really delusional to expect anything different, bro, based on what we've seen this season.
I mean, you would have to be a true fan to believe otherwise, right? To believe and hope in your club
I
to
will
pull
always-
away a win against your arch rival, unless you're already grabbing onto your heels and applying that KY jelly.
They have a puncher's chance. It's a knockout phase tournament, but over the course of 180 minutes, I find it very difficult that we will win that.
See, man, so if anything, what I will say is due to fans like you and the expectations of people such as yourself, is the results that you get on the field, where everyone knows that Chivas is just another doormat to walk over because they're not going to offer any true opposition because their own stands don't expect more from them.
I forgot
Dude.
how many matches San Luis lost before they got a victory against us, dude. So yeah, we are definitely the doormat of Liga MX right now.
It's crazy how these how these chemos are like so delusional, man. Like they had the best squad in like 10 years and they still lost to these guys, and they're giving the Chivas fans shit for being realists. That's fucking crazy, man. And the chemos could have put a stop to this if they fucking weren't perpetual losers. All right, at least Chivas had glory days, unlike the chemos who just always choke.
Wow, we're talking mighty spicy for somebody whose all titles came from Los Años en Blanco y Negro that no one remembers, right? They're written in the history books. I'm pretty sure they're in the fucking library of Ron, but at the same time, no one reads those archaic books.
Bro, the
Right.
glory days de Cruz Azul fue en los 70s.
Wait, they were more recent than those of
20-year drought.
Chivas.
20-year drought, right? 20-year drought. Like, you top everybody.
Real quick, LAFC just scored in the second leg against Columbus 1-0.
Güey, ahorita parecía Abdias Zelensky, nosotros, the U.S. cabinet.
Wait, all I'm saying is the truth, right? Your people will be in pain when this comes to your door. Y ahora
Dude,
estás
Chivas
aquí de que
totally-
no,
We'll
my
be
door
ready for
is never
whatever
knocked
comes,
upon.
bro.
Chivas is the equivalent of Zelensky right now, bro. They're just fucked, dude. No,
Joel, you came
don't
in
have
at
a
a good
tuxedo.
time.
I did. I came into Chivas and Zelensky. I picture I picture Amadi going into FMF in his tracksuit to request money for refuerzos. Hey, but so it'll benefit the league. But yeah, I just got in, man. It's a bit late, but
Hey,
it's
apenas
I
estamos
couldn't miss it,
comenzando.
man.
Dude, la
Oh,
carnita
good,
asada is
good.
barely getting started, sir.
Oh, nice, because it's like can't miss today, man. It's just so much news going on, so much
Mira, carnal.
desmadre.
El carbón muy apenas se está poniendo a punto. So,
Yes, sir.
échale toda la carne.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, Joel,
traigo los pomos.
we were just talking about how we got rid of all the Spaniards at Chivas except for Wale. He's the only one left. And
He must be feeling weird.
yeah,
See, that's what we were
He's like that
saying.
meme. You seen that meme? What is it? Is it a cat hiding amongst a bunch of dogs?
What?
I haven't
I
seen
don't know
that
if you
one.
guys have seen it.
Nah.
It's like a meme. And,
wait, is it the one where it's like, oh, they don't know I'm still here, or like they don't know I'm not one of them, or something?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a sheep and it's in between a bunch of wolves, or like a cat in the middle of a bunch of dogs, and it looks like they're looking for him, but he's right, he's hiding right.
Dude,
You know,
Joel, you know that meme of the little boy que tiene su cup and he's just looking around? That's Wale right now.
But Joel, do you think it was impulsive for Chivas to pull the plug on Oscar Garcia and all this in the middle of a season and just anticipating this America Chivas, the 3 matches we're gonna have against them this month? Do you think it was a little bit impulsive or?
Hold on, one second, please.
Yeah,
I gotta. Sorry.
he's got to wash the dishes.
No, se despertó el baby.
He's like, you can't
Dude.
podcast until you wash those dishes.
Dude, can I say something about Nene Beltran? He had the worst game ever versus Pumas. Dude, nada le salía. No passes, nothing. He was running, como dicen, like a headless chicken.
You think it's because of the inconsistency he's gotten? Like, he hasn't really gotten that many minutes. He hasn't started, right? He's been.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's wrong with Nene, dude. For real. Yo siempre era un pinche Nene fan. Now it's just like, man, super disappointing. I'm like, come on, man. You're better than this.
I know that we probably got the best years out of him, and he's going to be at a downward. Unless he goes somewhere else and then ends up killing it like every other player that.
Siempre. Siempre, dude. It happens all the goddamn. Let's say se va un equipo mid-tier. Se va al Atlas. Let's just say se va al Atlas.
No, se
dude,
va.
but that's.
Wait.
Go on.
Se va a Puebla, he'll be the fucking Iniesta of the league, bro.
Fuck, exactly. Filtrándole
All right,
pases a
gentlemen.
pinche Marín.
Ya
Go for it,
regresé
sir.
ya.
Yeah.
Dijo mi mamá que siempre sí.
Eso,
No,
mero.
it's very strange the way everything played out. Even with the coach getting sick and going to the hospital, like, was he really sick? You know.
He just called in sick.
But something obviously happened. There was something broke.
They reported that it was gastritis. Tuvo gastritis, is what I heard.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy it now because you probably saw the writing on the wall, or it was part of something happened. I don't know when we'll find out, but I feel that something happened, and it ultimately led to that to Chivas terminating their contract with them. And I've read like that the coach had quit.
Yep.
That he had originally quit, but then he backtracked and he's like, on second thought, I'm staying because if he quits, he's not, they don't have to pay him. They don't have to buy him out.
Wait, you mean
It's
I
a
won't get
contract.
severance if I quit? Never mind.
Yeah,
I don't quit. Fire me.
Yep. Dude, was it a $1.5 million severance? That's what
I
some
really
of the
don't know,
articles
man.
that I've read.
Hell no. Hell
Bro, some of the
no.
articles were saying 1.5. I was like, nah, lo dudo. There's
And
one.
pesos,
Una vez fue
maybe?
8 first.
¿Cuál, güey? I was reading 2.5 was the release
That's too much
clause.
for. Yeah, no,
Hold on.
that would
Sí,
be too
güey, pero
much.
espérate. Antes que nada, güey, we all know que Chivas es un pendejo when it comes to negotiating
Sí,
contracts.
pero no tanto
So
así,
to
güey.
put a 2.5 release clause or termination clause doesn't fucking raise any red flags to me. ¿Por qué? Porque Chivas on the business side son un montón de pendejos.
Yeah, but they really haven't done that in a long time. Because they did have, the last time they did it, and it was Higuera when he sacked Chepo. And that's because,
Your boy.
Vergara had brought De La Torres, and his ship was sinking, and he didn't want to come back, so he had to bribe them. But then when Higuera comes in, he's like, "I'm gonna take over." I don't know where he was getting all this money. I don't know if it was on him or the club, because he was just throwing dollars, man. But that was the last big buyout for Chivas. After that, they would just give these small contracts, and because they just don't have money to do that. They don't have the money to. And plus, we don't know how long his contract was for. I really doubt he had a 4-year contract, although the contracts have been for 2 years at most, whereas usually one year with a extension clause or something like that. So I don't know. I think the media just throws numbers. I don't I wouldn't like put too much stock in them. Um, there's that Gago money though, so there was they didn't really lose there. They just used the Gago money to buy the dude out. But I
So-
mean, looks like Chivas.
You think that's why
Yeah.
they got head out of though? Because they're like, fuck it, he's internal and he won't cost us
Yeah,
that much money.
yeah. They're both of them, right? Because they got
And he has a little bit of history with the institution as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coaching.
With the
Taco
whole
Yeah,
Bell.
that's-
deal.
Yeah, man. But I mean, I think we'll find out later because something must have happened. Because usually after Hierro left, right? Because these were Hierro's people, the club would have been like, do we still want to work with these guys? And I'm assuming they must have presented some plan or continuation of Hierro's plan. And the club must have agreed to let them keep working. And even at the start of this tournament, they were still around. So they were obviously in agreement of a lot of things. Because if not, they would have been gone before the start of the season. I mean, to let them remain and even bring in a coach and bring in one of their own people, it to me it shows that something must have happened in the last weeks or so where they were like, all right, fuck it, we can't be friends no more.
You know, I just want to like add to that,
Yeah.
and I think it dawned to the administration that they need to go in the opposite direction in which they were heading. And so, like, instead of looking abroad, they looked domestically. They looked within, and then they chose a guy who's familiar with, you know, Mexican soccer and the youth, right? And as opposed to these foreigners who didn't know anything about the league and were fumbling. Right? This guy was stumbling. He wasn't doing well, and you know, it sucks that it was abrupt and in the middle of a tournament. But you know, it looks like, to me at least, that they're going in the opposite direction.
But yeah, but see that sounds just counterproductive if you're like this many games into the season and then you're like, whoops, we fucked up. You would have at that point you would have been like, all right, finish the season.
Yeah.
Because the team wasn't they weren't cheeks. It's not like they couldn't win. There was some improvement. The big test was coming up.
Señor,
you know,
¿dónde?
We were losing versus the bottom tier teams. Esos son
but
games
that's always happened, man. Dude, look at every Chivas season. That's
Sí, pero
nothing new,
tampoco
man.
tan feo.
Pues
Tampoco tan
sí,
feo.
güey.
Dude, cuando
That's
pierdes 3-1
exactly it.
contra el pinche Atlético San Luis, it's like, what
Dude,
the fuck?
San Luis was literally in last place when we lost.
Exactly.
But
And then the
it's
question
happened.
is, so,
Look
okay.
by season.
Sí, güey, pero espérate,
Yeah.
are you measuring this season to the mediocrity that you've been producing for the past 2 tournaments, 3 tournaments?
No,
So therefore,
tampoco
a fucking
así.
fart in the wind is an improvement over what you've been doing because you've been shitting the bed for the past 3 tournaments.
We've always
Tanto así
made
no,
the
come on.
play-in or the
Yeah.
siempre estamos en la liguilla. Let's just say that. Hemos estado
No, güey,
constantly en la
no.
liga for
Siempre
the
están
past
en el
almost
pinche
6 years.
panzazo. Están en el panzazo. No están en la liguilla. Están para ver si califican para la liguilla. And guess what? Most of the time, you don't fucking make it.
No, that hasn't been the case. Come on, you're going too far back. They've been consistent from around the time Pelaez came in.
Yep.
They started consistently at least qualifying to the repechaje, finishing.
It was only this recent one that we didn't.
Yeah.
But aside from that,
So what I think is what I think the final name of the Spanish project is that we were like having a carousel of different players start in like somewhat different formations, but no matter who was playing, we couldn't stop leaking goals, especially late on. And I feel like they want to write that. They want to plug things up, and they're gonna choose some guy who's gonna try and do that with the kids, which is the cheapest option.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing, and the money gets the blame, but it's like a committee there, including his siblings, that are like in charge of the club. I know he's the figurehead, but they've been voting like a committee type, and so there does seem to be some type of rupture there, where they just whoever came in just decided to undo whatever had already been done. Um, it's similar to when Michele Año came in, and he just decided to take over. And from what Pelaez had been doing, he just pretty much kicked everyone and booted the coach. Kept waiting. I don't know if you guys remember. Every week, it's almost like they would pay, like, or he would pay the news to say it. If Vucevic doesn't win, he's out, or if he loses, he's out. And he it was like over a month, bro, and they kept saying the exact same thing. He finally beats Pachuca, and that's when they sack him. It's like, wow, it doesn't seem like this fucker's gonna lose anytime soon. I'm just getting rid of him. And that was like Michele Año came in and just took a shit on everything that Pelaez had been doing. And then he just drove the Chiva Bocho to the ground. And
what are you talking about? He took us to a World Cup.
But yeah, he ended up just getting booted out of there because he was like in charge of youth, and he had like other cargos there, because he had overseen the project with Cruyff, so he seemed to have some prominent role, and then got completely removed. It cost him big, huge. And so this, to me, that's why it has that same makings. Someone came in and was like, fuck it, let's scrap this project and we're going this direction now. But it's difficult to know who's back there doing those moves. Amaury doesn't really, he's opposite of his dad. He rarely does interviews. He rarely is the one to go out and make, threats or engage the public. So it's very difficult, I'm saying, to kind of figure out what's going on. We need some leaks.
Do you think this new sporting director Javier Mier is the one behind all this? Is he the one that's making all these moves? No, es lo más bien.
No, because with like Michele Año, so Michele Año had influence because of his family, the Leaños. The Leaños, the same family that owned Tecos. It's a family with a lot of money, a lot of ties, and yeah.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but I think we should talk about the elephant in the room. I think that Chivas acted premature because here's the thing: if America beats them 3 games in a row, which I'm predicting, it's going to be a shit show. So they should have basically, whatever changes that they should have done, they should have done after. Because now you've just created 2 fucking crises, right? In a span of less than a month. Because I guarantee you, if America, does what they're supposed to do, I mean, like what, logic indicates, where America advances in the CONCACAF and then also, beats them in the league, you know that in Guadalajara, the fans and the press, they're going to want blood and they're going to want heads to roll.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And speaking of which,
completely right. Wait, just real quick to add on what you were saying, that would have made more sense. Especially if you're trying to get rid of if you're trying to get rid of them for whatever reason. That was the big test for Chivas, and nobody would have given a fuck. Nobody would have cared. But the club now looks like it's in disarray. It doesn't know, head from toes. But I'm gonna finish real quick with Leaño. So his family, he's married to the family that owns Akron, which is the whole stadium.
Before you continue,
yeah.
Can you advance me the gift card? I kind of need it now.
What happened?
I said, can you advance me the gift card? The wager.
¿Le apostaste?
No, I would, but I would like. It would be like I need a 2-goal differential. So Ana would have to win by +2.
Sí le apostó, pero le apostó el culito.
Oh, eso no.
Eso no se apuesta.
No.
Eso se
but see,
regala, ¿verdad, güey?
no, but Akron, I mean, Akron is it's oil.
Just make sure you include drinks and the tip, okay? Don't do me wrong like Rigo
You want me to
Whoa,
put the tip
whoa.
way?
Hold on, Ron. I thought you were gonna be the one giving the tip that night.
Yes. Look,
La pura cabecita,
No,
güey. Así no cuenta. Así no son potadas.
It's an inside joke because when I beat Rigo in the wager, we bet for X amount, but then I said, fuck, I didn't include the tip and I didn't include the fucking drinks. Like, motherfucker.
No, but yeah, Akron. So in Akron, it was pretty much Chivas' biggest sponsor, and so that's sort of how he managed to, have so much influence within the club. Because I think they're still there. I don't know how it has affected that. Well, I don't know if they still have the naming rights
Hey,
because they had like a 10-year deal.
Is Michele Año still in the shadows within Chivas or no?
I don't know, bro. That would be interesting to know. I know he hasn't been heard of unless he came back. Yes, he came back for reasons.
It could possibly be. Ya sabes que ahí se mezcla entre el pinche the whole Chivas staff. So a lo mejor ahí está doing,
Well, it would be monetary.
government shit.
He comes in and he could like secure funds for the club, and then they'll be like, all right, you could play with us again. You're bringing in so much money. So it would be something like that. I don't think they would just rehire him because they have pretty much all the positions. So I do think someone there moved the rug. It could have been just a split between the Maoris people because I'm willing to bet he didn't bring Hierro.
I thought Hierro was his brother-in-law's hire.
Yeah, could be. See,
Alejandro Manso, right?
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
He wanted Pelaez to stay, but then Pelaez, he's sort of like, it still surprises me to this day because he had to quit when they sacked Andres Monesley sacked Rey Milas, Buse. He had to go because that was his project, and they weren't gonna let him finish it. And I think Amaury said, just stay till some of this fuckery's over, but kind of just wicker man right there. He just took, but he got paid for it. So yeah, he took the brunt of everything, criticisms and everything, and he just ended up looking really bad. But I think that was Amaury's guy.
So part of this new guy's entourage, Gerardo Espinoza, is Piti Altamirano. He's going to be the assistant coach. I know, it's crazy.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard of.
I know he was coaching. He was coaching in Costa Rica.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's kind of taking a step back, being assistant. But
now, really quickly, the last news that I had on Marcelo Michel de Año was the fact that he was working at La Selección in the, I think, sub-23 level. But this was months ago. This might be updated since, Game of Thrones is happening over there at all times. So, quién sabe quién chingados está. But that was my last... Bro, that's literally fucking FMF, right? We talked about the Legion of Doom. We talked about the Red Wedding. Combine all of those things, and it's not even a quarter of the desmadre that happens in La Federación Mexicana or in La Liga MX. But that was my last update on him, was that he was working out there because there was that big argument of like, well, what the hell is Lilini doing if he's in charge of the subcategories for Mexico? And it was specified that no, Lilini's job is to go out there and find those foreign-born Mexican players or those players who are barely eligible because their dad ate a tortilla when he was a child that can now play for Mexico.
Can I
Wow.
throw a theory out there, guys? Esto lo escuché. Do you guys think los españoles were making business on Mexican American players? Porque it's weird that a lot of the Mexican American players were purchased or grabbed during the Hierro era.
I think that we were just desperate for players that we expanded our filters.
If anything, I'd be willing to say that they were running a false flag operation where a lot of people thought that they were going to Europe, to Spain, and then the switcheroo came and it's like, no, carnal, you're going to Mexico. Like, hablamos con el lisp, but really, you're going to go eat clenbuterol tacos.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I will say that this is going to be quite a task for Gerardo Espinoza, and I hope that, we can at least not get embarrassed in this Champions Cup. And I don't know why this is an ongoing trend in Liga MX, but Tigres straight up fired Pau right after the match and put ¿cómo se llama? Pizarro as fucking coach. That's just crazy, bro.
All right. Now, really quickly, just because I keep my ear to the ground on what happens with those cousin fuckers up north, right? And it's the fact that for the longest time, there's been a conversation around Pizarro as to what's going to happen once he's no longer useful for the club. Exactly. Because one of the things about Tigres, right? And let's talk about this open and blatantly, is the fact that the players have too much power within the locker room and within the organization itself. Like Gignac, who the fuck is going to sit him down? No one, right? Because he essentially runs the club both inside and outside. That's all that's going to happen. So therefore, that was the same conversation happening with Guido, right? It's like, hey, what's going to happen when this dude no longer is able to perform? Because let's be honest, he's getting a little bit too long at the tooth as of right now to be able to keep giving those performances that we all remember when they were winning championships, when they're filling up their vitrina, and they were doing all of these things. And then one little rumor that came out was the fact that you guys know that Guido already has his license to be a director técnico. You guys know that he already has all of these things. So therefore, at some point when he retires, he's going to be reincorporated into the fold for Tigres. Now, the thing is, nobody knew that this was the move that they were coming at. Because let's not forget that the coaching staff for Colo-Colo has been poached by Tigres months ago because they were having reports in Chile about them being swept away by international interests. They never named the team. But then as of yesterday, we see that same auxiliary staff being part of Guido's. So therefore, the question is, how long has Guido and the Tigres organization been cooking exactly it? But, right? So how long has this been in the works?
How fucked up is it to do that to Pau in the middle of the season, bro? That's some dirty shit, bro.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think he earned it. I think he deserved it because if you listen to his press conferences, they kept getting more and more, I want to say, visceral when speaking about the team environment, about how they're not performing their duties, how they're not playing the way that he wants. And to the point to where he said it openly and in front of camera and open mics. He said, this team is not performing the way it has to, and they have disappointed me. So when that happens,
I just want to point out that we are in March, and this is like the Ides of March, and Pau is like a shittier Mexican version or Serbian version of Julius Caesar, and this is his great betrayal in modern times.
That's crazy.
But yeah, kudos to Guido. No, it is such a Giga Chad move. I put that in the chat. Like, that's just so crazy for him to like lead this coup and just wrestle power away from Pau, who I've like had the feeling has been like really like bad in the locker room, right? He's not afraid to call out players, just like how you mentioned. There was rumors that he got decked up by Pocho at
Ocho.
Chivas,
Yep.
right? Him just leaving to the guys that knocked him out. Like, I don't know. This guy's bad vibes, and I feel like it's catching up to him. So, good luck to him.
And he'll still get a job in Liga MX after this. He's
I hear
still
Chivas is the coach.
Oh my God. Chivas should know, hey, Fernando Gago and Paunovic are available. We should go after them. I heard they're good. Bro, that's crazy. I think that's worse than what we did to Oscar Garcia. You know, we sent him to the hospital, but Pau was just like a straight up backstabbing move in the middle of like the game. Like it felt like they showed video of like, you know, the locker room before the game. Like, bro, he's not even involved. Like, well, it's beyond words, man.
The real victim is Espinoza, man. He's just gonna be
Yeah.
our sacrificial lamb and just take 3 fucking losses to the Tricampeón. And yeah, that's who I feel bad for.
And that was
Poison
something that I
challenge.
wanted to bring up. It was that literally it. It's a poison challenge. Chalice. Right?
Chalice. Yes. Sir.
Hey, wait. Me acabo de tomar un pinche 4-pack de
You
VMCs,
gotta
all
get
right?
the dick out of your mouth, bro.
No. That's you guys. And going into America, I know you're going to be glazing some meat later on this week.
Go to the
All right.
glue, dude. To the
Now,
albañil
with
glue.
that being said, are you telling me que le están tendiendo la cama to your new coach who's just coming in?
Wait, who are you talking about? You talking about Espinosa?
Espinosa.
Yeah.
Nah,
Ya le están tendiendo la cama right off the rip?
Nah, I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
he's starting in the negative, bro. Like I said, it's a poison chalice. You know, it's like, why would you do this to him? Unless, of course, you're gonna like, you don't give a fuck about him, actually. You know, so
Yeah,
you're
setting him up for failure, bro. It's like, hey, we need
Dude.
you to get out of this building. By the way, it's on fire, and we have no water or money. Like, good luck, bro.
Dude, whatever happens, I don't think they're gonna fire the guy. They're gonna let him ride out the season.
Yeah, like I said, to me, from everything that I've seen from Chivas is like official press and website, it seems to me like this is not interim. This is our coach, and they're gonna back him at least, you know, for the foreseeable future. But I mean, this is Liga MX, like Abdia says, and every coach is an interim coach. So, yeah, dude. How'd it
Let me
go? Huh?
Let me throw out a scenario real quick. Okay, so this guy loses all 3 games to America. We like make the repechaje and then we get bounced out, or we don't even make the repechaje, right? Like then this guy, his career is over. Like he's done, and just like that, and I think that's like crazy. Like, but that's very common here in this league,
Yeah.
and he was just being many. But anyways, just wanted to add that.
For sure. So Tigres ended up winning that match against Necaxa. I thought it was a pretty good match there. And then today on Guido Pizarro's debut, he actually started the game behind. You know, Cincinnati scored within 3 minutes, and Nico Ibanez ended up tying it, and that was it on the first leg, 1-1 on the road. So not the worst debut for Guido Pizarro, but I'm also not 100% convinced that every single player on the team is happy about this move. I'm sure, like, if you're Gignac or maybe Antuna or some of these other players with a lot of ego, I'm sure you're looking at this like, this motherfucker was my friend like yesterday. I can't take him serious. He's my boss now.
Wait, I'm sure Gignac was consulted on this move. I could see him staying at the club a long time.
I think he
Being
just
like a
got an
stable.
extension on his contract for a year.
Yeah, see, I think they consulted him. They would, you know, are you cool with this?
Yeah, I've just been in those situations where like your friend is now your boss, and then you're like, bro, fuck you. You can't tell me what to do. I was taking shots with you the other day, bro. Like, I can't take you serious.
So Tuca was touching on this in Spicy Soccer, and he was talking about how he had given him license to fix things mid-game. He's like, if you see something wrong on the field, don't wait until halftime, fix it. Like, you're the leader here. Lead these people, right? And he had been doing that for years, right? Because it's been a few years since Tuca was at the institution, but Guido was there and was his guy, right? Him, Carioca, Gignac, and a few others. They're still there. They're still starting a lot of the games, and so like he's been a leader at this institution, and he's been making like tactical adjustments like during the game. He's got his license, like Abdias said. Like he checked all the boxes. He knows the institution. He has a respect of people, and they're gonna let him, see out, this season. Because Tigres is in third place right now. Like, we're talking about like, oh, the drama of Pau leaving.
That's even crazier that they fired him, and he was doing well.
No. Third place, but if you look at them, they play like shit. They play like shit, and they win games de panzazo. And then they lose some, and Pau like will fucking throw his players under the bus. So it's like, it is a shit show, but it's like a high functioning shit show.
Yeah, dude. Like the way they made it look like it's like, oh, this team's like doing really bad. They're not even. No, dude, they're in third place. It's like, wow, dude. The balls to do this in the middle of the season is crazy. But that's Liga MX, bro. That is Liga MX. Efrain Juarez taking over at Pumas. I know Funes Mori scratching his head like, hey, didn't we play together at Rayados? Now you're my coach. But Pumas did really well and got the 2-0 victory today in the Champions Cup.
Speaking of Efrain, there's something that sorry guys, I'm driving, but he had an interview with David Faitelson, and there's something that he said that I really liked, because it's true. Basically he was into that. You could do everything right, and they still can you. Referring to he got the double over there in Colombia, and then next thing you know, he's top liver. So he's basically trying to allude to, or at least say to his guys, saying that, hey, just don't think about it. Just you got to do it. Basically you have to prepare yourself to win. And I think that's very, very true, because we've seen it in Liga MX, where both for players and coaches, where you think they're doing well, and then the next thing you know, boom, they get fucking fired for whatever reason. I guess like the biggest case, or at least the most biggest example for me would be Leo Benacer, right? Where you're doing well, and the next thing you know, you get fucking fired. But like you said, Jaime, that's Liga MX for you. Mm-hmm. So just wanted to say that.
Now, really quickly, one of the things that I'll do is I'll push back on that narrative. Efrain Juarez wasn't fired. He left that club willingly.
Yeah, he left.
Because they wouldn't listen to him. Espérate. You got to tell your fan fiction. Now let me tell the reality. He left because of the players that they brought in. He left because they wouldn't give him the team that he wanted. They didn't listen to anything that he said. In fact, Tuca talked about this, about how Cruz Azul fucked him over while he was there, because they signed players that he wasn't asking for, and the players that he would ask for, they would tell him that they weren't within the budget.
Okay, but I understand that technically he wasn't fired, but technically, if you read between the lines, yes, he was fired, because you don't do that unless you don't pull those shenanigans unless you're trying to force somebody out. Because here's the thing, hay envidias, all right? And we've seen this, and this is not just the Liga MX, and this is just in general, right?
Y de las buenas.
And sometimes when you go in there and you start fucking winning, there are going to be people that are going to want you to fail, because they don't want you becoming more popular or having a bigger influence in the club. And that's why I say that technically I understand that he wasn't fired, but really he was. Because you don't do that to a coach that just won the fucking won a double for. They won the cup. He won the cup in the league.
He saw the writing on the wall and stepped down.
Yeah. I mean, it was like for example, with Leo Benacer, becoming very, very popular. Loved by the fans, the players and stuff like that. And then the Club America president, he didn't want he didn't want Leo Benacker to basically use De Leon. He didn't want him to put him in the roster because of they were negotiating, right? But Leo Benacker said, "No, this is my team. Like this is my this is my decision." Next thing you know, boom. Leo Benacker. They didn't even give him the fucking courtesy to say you're fucking fired. Like the coach, they basically sent some office worker and basically said, "Hey, get out."
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But like I said, what you kind of have to listen to, like the entire context of what Efrain Juarez was saying with David Faitelson, right? Because like you said, you can do things right and still get fucked over, and you can do things bad and somehow miraculously you fucking stay.
Yeah. We have Cheekies. Cheekies, welcome to the show. We finally have some perspective from a Pumas fan. How do you feel about Efrain Juarez taking over the helm? You think he's the right guy? You think he's because he's from the institution, this was the right move? Welcome.
There's no getting Pumas, man. They just suck. I've said this before, like long ago. The coach don't. You need players. You need money. Coach isn't going to do anything. Efrain isn't impressive in my opinion. But yeah, it's just going to be the same old Pumas.
Yeah, well, they got the 2-0 victory today in the Champions Cup. I could see them progressing to the next round.
Who'd they play again? Alajuelense?
Alajuelense?
Yeah, that's a nobody. That's a scrub team.
Well, sorry, Beto. Mi Beto busca pleitos. Pumas.
Isn't that the team that beat Pumas in the final?
Exactly. That's where I was going with. So, Pumas shit the bed, against the Costa Ricans. The Costa Rican teams in the Champions Cup. I mean, so yeah. So like that's what I know that they beat Liga whatever from Costa Rica, but keep in mind, dude.
Saprissa, I think.
Yeah, Saprissa and Liga basically have been a thorn in their side.
Snap. Chicas, yeah, you guys can't badmouth the Ticos, man.
Yeah, I've been out on this season. I'm almost like abandoning the team. I'm almost to that point where I'm like throwing away my jerseys and stuff.
Oh my goodness, bro! They're in 12.
Wait, espérate.
They're just a victory.
Don't do anything
from the play-in. It's not that serious.
Espérate, wait, antes que nada, don't do anything that drastic, because you know what the saying is, right? When a Pumas fan dies, another one is born. Just send it over here to Tech Daddy, where in his last trip, he found his Mexican roots and realized that he's nothing more but a fucking Pumas fan. So you can give those collectibles, those beautiful old shirts, and just give them new life.
No way. Cuando fue a Mexico, they converted him to a Pumas fan.
Speaking of Pumas, and I understand, I understand Beto's frustration with his team because they haven't been very consistent, right? But I don't know if you guys are following what's going on with Boca and Riquelme, right? In the last, I think 3-4 years, he's had 8 coaches, and when you actually look at the coaches that he's hired and you look at their effectiveness, some of these coaches had 60%, 70% effective rate. And some of them have lasted, just a couple months, 10 months, 9 months, a year and a half or whatever. Some of them have even, have picked up silverware along the way. But the reason I bring up Boca is because Boca is still a traditional club, the way it's administered and the way it's operated, right? Where the socios still, choose who the president's going to be. And then obviously that president is going to try to implement their philosophy as to how the club should be managed. And you kind of have to look at both sides of the coin, because for years I always heard, especially from the pundits, that one of the reasons Liga MX owners aren't very effective or whatever, because they're run like a corporation and they're not run as a sports club. And I think you're seeing two sides of the coin, where, like, take America. That is a fucking company. That's what it is. It's an S corp. But right now they're doing things right. But then you have on the other side Pumas, which technically is not a for-profit club in the sense, because they're still registered as a civil association. But it sometimes, being run in that way, it's the classic case of there's too many Indians, not enough, or what was it? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. You know what I mean? And so you could have like America, in the sense where you have one owner, and he's just shit. And I'll say that about Vergara, right? But then you look at Azcárraga, and he's like, well, that's a 180. And it's the same thing. So it really doesn't matter whether it's whatever legal entity you have your club as. At the end of the day, do you have competent people? Because you could be successful in either entity format, but I mean, one of the reasons why I think it's so sad, to see Chivas and Chivas and Pumas. Yes, I don't think Cruz Azul, you can really say that, because they've been fighting title, or they've been at least getting to the finals for a long time. They have their hiccups. I'm not going to say they don't.
They're your number one customer.
Well, no, but like I said, I've always defended Cruz Azul in the sense that, even, granted, they're also a co-op. They're not technically a company, but whatever they do, even with their internal problems, somehow they tend to keep fighting, getting into finals and putting themselves in a position to win. I can't really say that about Pumas, and I can't really say that about the Chivas. And for me, that's unfortunate, because you want to see those teams, especially those two teams, you want them to be, always fighting at the top, because I think it just makes the league a little bit more attractive.
So just to touch on that, Ron, while Pumas is like an association, or it does have like a bunch of socios, they always had, like, well, at least in their glory days, they always had like one or two really rich beneficiaries, and that money has dried up or has been inconsistent these last 10 years or so. And the money that they do have,
they still have it. It's still there, El Patronato. And it's still a lot of the guys with, from old money, from Carlos Slim and Helus, and basically it was a bunch of the guys were a bunch of basically business tycoons, from like Banamex and
yes,
and
to it, Ron.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys are old money.
You can look at the board, the Pumas. You could look. Sorry, Ron, really quick. You can look at the Patronato, the Pumas, the dudes running it, and then look what their CEOs of, and you'll be surprised when they're bringing money to the club.
So and it's funny because if you think about it, like Tigres is almost run like a patronato. They basically have a patronato. They have what's Sinergia Deportiva, which is technically Cemex, right? And then you have Monterrey, that's technically FEMSA. And but again, it's like, I think what it boils down to is having just competent people, and people that and those people have to treat the club like that's their sole purpose. And I remember watching an interview with Carlos Slim's what's his name, he was the former president for Pumas when Hugo Sanchez was there. What's his name? Elias Ayub, whatever, right? And like for the short stint that he was at Pumas, he actually did fairly well. The Sudamericana, the Trofeo Santiago Bernabéu, the Bicampeonato, and all that type of stuff. But I don't remember if it was Jose Ramon or David Faltos, and when he was interviewing, he just said that he couldn't give any more to it because of the amount of time that it takes to run a football club, and he's just talking about how just difficult it is. He said it's really, really, really difficult, and I have to kind of agree with him because I mean I remember seeing an interview with the guys from Atlante as well. That everybody thinks that running a club, a sports club in Mexico is easy, and it's not. There's so many moving parts. There's a lot of egos on and off the fields, and they're not always pulling in the same direction. And for me, that's unfortunate because, like I said, we're starting to see the decline of some clubs that I thought were basically shoo-ins. I mean, if you were to ask me 20 years ago or even 15 years ago, it would would Chivas, Chivas or Pumas, would they become just a bottom feeder team? I'm like, fuck no, they're way too important. But here they are. And I, for one, I hope that Efrain Juarez finds success. And in terms of Chivas, I see it very difficult for them, and not because of the Mexican-only policy. That they've had some really great teams in the past with all Mexicans, obviously. I just think it comes down to having competent people, top to bottom, in the managerial staff, in the administrative staff, in the front office.
Real quick, LAFC make it 2-0 against Columbus in the 50th minute. Dennis Buanga with the brace.
Okay. Y con un pinche golazo, güey.
Pinche
Yeah,
golazo.
literally. If you're watching this game, it's fucking beautiful, and LAFC is pushing Columbus's shit in. Like, LAFC has had at least 2 chances at goal since this second half started, and that's on top of the 1 goal that they've already converted.
And that's going to be all the MLS that we talk about tonight, but just wanted to keep everyone posted.
Can we talk about the San Diego, the puto shits?
Oh, that's a great topic to bring up.
Yeah. See?
Oh, you mean the fact that the pochos will never get las fucking vibras? They don't understand what soccer culture is about. Most importantly, Latin American soccer culture.
Hey, so I almost watched the whole clip about Hercules Gomez going off on like, hey, you guys blame Mexicans for this. You guys blame CONCACAF. You guys blame the Mexican national team. But now it's in your own home. It's an MLS. Like, who's to blame now? You know what I mean? So
come on. I was watching that. And I was like, come on, dude. You know who it is. It's the fucking Mexicans that are doing this. It's the Mexican Americans. It's still But no, I just thought it was hilarious because I saw his rant and I was just cracking up. First of all, I didn't even know San Diego had a team.
I forgot that Chucky Lozano was playing football, man.
He came off injured in the first half. I think like 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, that's karma.
Off injured. Yeah, it's not a good sign. Not a good way to start the new season.
That's what he gets for hanging up his boots at under the age of 30, like how Carlos Vela did. That's what happens when you go to the MLS, bro.
Damn, todavía sigue salty.
He needs to hit the gym. He needs to hit the gym. That dude is like the most fragile, pipsqueak, pecho frío. Like, I'm not gonna
his fucking cankles hurt all the time.
Yeah, I'll never forgive him for his the potential that he had coming off the World Cup and against Germany and then Napoli. That's what else do you call that?
He won a Scudetto with Napoli, which they hadn't won since Maradona, so it was a big deal, but yeah.
How important was he, though?
That season, I don't know.
Not so much.
He was rotational, bro. He was rotational,
yeah.
But he did start a lot once Politano got injured. Politano was the captain.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't day in, day out starter. His best season was with Ancelotti when he was playing as a center forward behind the striker. But yeah, he's not. These last 2 years have been a wash. 2-3 years have been a wash for Lozano. He's just always been on and off injured. can't hit form for too long.
And I think he still holds the record for being Napoli's most expensive transfer. So next time I go to Italy, I'll ask them, how they felt about that. But yeah, dude, I mean, I heard about that. I don't watch MLS, so I didn't see the debut. I didn't see the chance, but I mean, this is a thing that's been going on in North America for quite some time. And I don't know. It's never going to go away. Like, it's never going to go away.
I mean, but at the same time, they're going to watch a fucking Libertadores match and praise the ambience and how beautiful it is and this and that. When if you listen to the chants, they're just as bad, if not worse, than the fucking puto chant. So therefore, what are you really complaining about? Are you complaining about the fact that you can understand a little bit of Spanish and you know what that means? Or what's the problem here? I don't see it as an issue. This is soccer culture. Welcome to it.
I think it's a virtue signaling.
In
That's
Trump's
all we're doing.
America, ya no va a importar eso.
That's right. I just listened to the address, bro. My prezi just said that he's bringing back free speech. So you know what? Let me be at a stadium shouting puto at the top of my lungs. Y sabes qué, güey? Si te molesta, ponte el pinche saco.
He said free speech as one of the Democrats got kicked out. He got kicked out for
¿Sabes
free
qué?
speech.
Don't question my authority, okay? I'll tell you what happens.
Whatever. I do what I want.
Damn, Eric Cartman over here.
Yeah, it's interesting that I like I said, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I saw the clip on our group chat. I'm like, oh, that happened. Like, I'm not surprised. I hear it every time I go to cover matches. I always hear it, and that's just part of the game, and you're not going to be able to control it. Like, I'm sorry. You can continue to find the team. You can, fan ID and ban like, there will always be someone that wants to say that, but then you can't, you know what I mean? Like, it's stupid.
You know what? Hold on. I want the opinion of our most Latinx person on this panel. So, Rifado, give me your take on this.
I'm not, I never say it, or anything like that. If it makes someone uncomfortable, I'm not with it. But like, as far as
Have you ever
like,
said it though?
Have I ever said it at a match?
Yes.
No, never.
No, man. Come on, bro.
Latinx through and through, way.
Puto. No, just
Bro, it goes so hard being at a stadium and the build of
What I do want to touch on is the inconsistency of like this sort of advocacy for people that are gay or LGBTQ, like, MLS and FIFA and like all these like, institutions in soccer world, they'll like trash Mexico any chance they get for the P chant, but like they'll have like 2 World Cups, Saudi Arabia, and then the past Qatar, and it's like the death sentence. Russia, where it's illegal to be gay in Russia, but it's the death penalty to be gay in Saudi Arabia as well as Qatar. So it just goes to show you like how hollow these criticisms are from FIFA and CONCACAF and even the MLS, because they are all complicit with like real homophobia, like that could kill you, right, or kill someone. But like here for the P chant, like they're fucking throwing a fit. So yeah, hypocrisy.
Who was that American journalist that died in Qatar? He was wearing like a
Grant Wall.
He was wearing a Pride shirt. He died.
Yeah, it's Grant Wall.
They sent him back in a box, bro. They don't fuck around.
That was Grant Wall. Hey, I got a quick take on this though. That this is like bringing politics into it. If you look in Mexican politics and like their Senate or Congress, whatever, did you see that one dude, that transgender guy who's flamboyant? Or he's not transgender, he's probably gay, but he's like flamboyant. He's like a senator. Like he wears high heels and stuff on the floor and all that.
No,
Mexico's the guy who killed his husband. That guy?
Dude. I think it was that
Okay,
dude.
I'm happy we're talking about him. Yes, go ahead.
So in Mexico, you might see like the P chant and all this, like people calling each other jotos and all this stuff. And even like I'll be playing Call of Duty, and South Americans, they use marica like all over the place. Maricon, marica as like using way. And so it's like you're saying, like the Latino culture and everything, but it's also freely around. Like you see gays all over the place, more so or equal to flamboyant as you do in the United States. So it's not like they're, I mean, I'm sure they are like getting beat up or whatever to a certain point, but they're out there, they're prideful and everything like that. So it's just the American virtue signaling, like someone said, trying to do, right by everyone and be all nice and friendly and stuff.
It certainly is. Real quick, I recently went to Mexico City, and I got the opportunity to touch the grounds, the holy grounds of Seoul, right? And I have to say, the amount of Mexico City is probably one of the most liberal places I've ever been to in my life, and this is the quote unquote place that is being patronized as like the for the P chant, we'll call it, right? But I think a lot of it is just virtue signaling. There's not really any rhyme or reason. I think somebody mentioned here, if you really wanted to take a stance, why are you affiliated with like Saudi Arabia and these like Emirates, right? It's bullshit. But more so on the experience of the stadium, a lot of it gets cut off like in the broadcast, and you don't see like the intros to the game with Pumas specifically. But it is very interesting. Just like if you had to translate this to an American audience, like just the player intros and the hype up, you have like 40,000 Mexicans doing a Roman salute that's like similar to like a Nazi salute, doing the Pumas intro, and it's not really meant in hatred or anything. Sure, there's some putazos that go on within the fans in the stands and things like that, but it was certainly part of the ambiance. The last thing I wanted to bring up was somebody mentioned it. I think it was like the way that Pumas is ran. From what I gathered talking to some miserable lifelong Pumas fans there, is that it's kind of ran like a cosplaying professional outfit when it also pretends to be like a nonprofit or university. Apparently, there's been interest from big billionaires, millionaires like Carlos Slim to want to buy the club. But I guess, yeah, I'll leave it to you guys that I think the closest model will be like Tigres, right? Tigres poses as a university, but they're backed by like a conglomerate and they have the money to spend and purchase players. But it was just interesting to see that. And the last thing, very particular, maybe it's a Liga MX thing or just kind of a Mexico thing. Upon entrance to the game, you got to do like the fan ID and all this. Like certain things are outlawed. Like I had no idea you couldn't wear a belt. You couldn't wear a belt to the game. You couldn't take a phone. You couldn't take a phone charger. Just crazy bullshit, right? It's a reminder that you're also in Mexico, right? So I get to the front of the line. I was meeting up my friend, which is also like an experience just to get to the stadium, to get through like security. Security's like, hey, empty your pockets. You have a phone charger. And I was like, yeah, is that illegal in Mexico? I didn't know that a phone charger was an issue. And they were like, no, you can't have it. I just showed them where I was sitting because my boy was hooking me up. They're like, all right, go ahead. And like I look over to my right, and there's like a family being shaken down for like their phone chargers and their belts. But they're sitting in like what's considered, I guess, the cheap seats. So it's also a reminder that classism in Mexico, it's a real thing. If you flex that front row ticket, you can walk in with whatever. But all in all, it was an interesting experience. I recommend you guys give it a go, and good reminder that football is more about the experience than what you see on the TV. And Pumas is ass, right? But we'll see what we'll see what Efra does. So
Hey, Tech Daddy, I got a question for you. When you went to the stadium, when you went to the game, did you wear a jersey or did you wear a collared shirt?
So I went in like a spy. I had a chore coat covering the jersey just in case shit popped off, and it did pop off. So I was kind of blending in as like a local, but also as like my friends. I'll admit they're fresas, right? So I was blending in as just like one of them. But yeah, I had the Pumas jersey under, but I was covered. It was raining that day, but yeah, there were some people that were going at it in the stands. Some America fans and some Pumas fans, and yeah, they were going at it.
Yeah, I think that's a wrong thing with the collar shirt. You can't be going in looking like a common. If you wear like a sports coat or something like that, like dressing really sort of nice, they might confuse you with one of the elites, and they might go into the better.
So that's a pro tip. Yeah, wear the sports coat over the jersey, and if you get the official one, not like the pulga one, that's like even more to your status quo. Throw on the sports coat, and then you'll be an untouchable. But no, it was a fun experience.
Cool.
Hell yeah, Tech Daddy quickly becoming one of us, man. That's awesome.
Now, really quickly, one of the things that I wanted to touch about was more of to the virtual signaling, right? That's coming out of the US side. Because in Mexico, for the longest time, the third sex has been not just recognized, but rather respected. To the point where, as of right now, one of the biggest starlets in Mexican media is Wendy Guevara, which is an openly trans female. Right? She's on everything. She's everywhere. She's on fucking daytime national television. Like, fucking Wendy is huge. She won Casa de los Famosos, which is something that you have to win by popular vote. So therefore, what do you mean that Mexico has a homophobia problem, right? We accept it. But you know what's the biggest thing? One of the biggest Mexican cultural nuisances and things that holds us together es que te vamos a romper los pinches huevos. Doesn't matter who you are or what you do. El bullying siempre está ahí y nunca se va a ir.
Yeah, man, that reminds me of La Reimers when she came out and said that Mexico has a big problem against women, which in a degree it does with all like the feminicidios and stuff. But from the soccer perspective, look, everyone bullies Faitelson because of the Cuauhtemoc thing. Everyone was there's this guy, what's his name? I think Andres Baca. Everyone says that his kid looks like his coworker, so everybody like calls him a cuck. Like that's the Twitter joke. There's like Garcia, Dr. Garcia. Everybody flames him for one thing, and then with Reimers, it was like, dude, like we're not hating you because you're a female commentator. Your actual friend, she's actually really good. We're hating on you because you're boring as fuck. Like your commentary is terrible. And she thinks because she's a woman that she has a right to be like the female commentator. But no, like you have to earn that. Like, you have to be good at it. And there's plenty of women out there that are good at it. She's just terrible. But she came out and blamed it on her gender. And it's like, nah, man, in soccer Twitter, everyone gets bullied. And we're bullying you because you suck, not because you're a woman.
Look at Chuyazo. That shit's
exactly, man. Like Chuyazo, man. Like, it's so funny and stuff, but at the same time, like, you need to have like the mental strength to keep up with that shit. They're always accusing you of like murdering someone or disappearing or getting killed or being the one who committed the crime. I think I saw his tweet the other day. He was like, look, you guys can talk shit about me, like I don't care, but please keep the mother of my kids out of it. Like you guys don't gotta make her into memes. And I was like, damn, man, that
I didn't know they were going after his baby mama. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. So the man took it, but that's the thing, no one's making fun of him because he's prieto, gordo, or nothing. It's just a meme. Everyone gets shit, and it's the same thing with it's the virtual signaling. What pisses me off is like, so Americans think that when Atlas came out with this chant, that families and start like Mexicans were cool with taking their kids to the game and hearing their kids like screaming like what they think means like faggot. Like, hey, let's all take our kids and teach them to scream faggot. Like let's make it like super anti-gay. No, it was used as like bitch, and it's a sporting event. So now for them to come in and say, hey, why are you guys calling the player faggot? Like, what is wrong with you guys? Are they just saying like we all as a society we're just super homophobic and we raise our kids to be homophobic? When in reality the word never meant that. If we were saying maricon or we were saying joto at the goal kick, different fucking story, man. But to me, it's like when you say, está haciendo puto calor, tengo puta sed.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, if it is homophobic, then wouldn't puta be something you refer to a lesbian? Like, no, it's something you refer to as a whore.
Yep. I never associated the puto with like a homophobic thing. It was just like, oh, you're being a bitch. Like that's
exactly.
Like it's always been that. It's like, oh, you're being a little bitch, dude.
If anything, I think this whole thing holds a light to the whole Cavani issue when he was over at EPL.
Oh, yeah.
He got sanctioned X amount of games for just saying mi negrito,
yeah,
which is a term of endearment in Uruguay. So therefore, why are you telling me that your culture is the end all be all and what dictates what everyone else's culture should be? Like, hey, I have my own identity. My country has its own identity. So therefore, how dare you impose yours upon me? Furthermore, one of my favorite chants in Mexican soccer, and I'm not sure if we copied it off the Argentines, because, that's what Mexicans love to do, but it's the chant of que lo vengan a ver, que lo vengan a ver. Ese no es un portero, es una puta de cabaret. Fucking love it, dude. When the stadium sings that, how can you not love it? Or equipo póngale huevos.
Yeah.
How can you say that those things are anti or discriminatory?
It happened during the height of the whole cancel culture.
I get you guys' point. I agree with you guys' point. But I do agree that this bullying and all these words are targeted. And like if you see a gay guy, like flamboyant, not too flamboyant, but he's gay, they're going to call him the P word. It's pretty much like faggot. And yeah, it might not be, you could be friends with a dude, but they're making fun of you for being gay. So it is, I mean, if you want to call it, like, I don't like using the word homophobic because no one's afraid of nothing, but it is like making fun of you because you're gay. But it's just bullying. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, you bully and you go hardcore in some instances, and that's just the way it is. And it's ugly, but that's just, that's no.
But the thing is,
a little bit of both.
If you're directing it towards someone, you have to say, mira ese pinche puto. Or, güey, no seas puto. Just the word of like, güey, no seas puto. Okay, then you get it. That's a little bit more sharp, and it has a deeper reach, and it actually does have an intent to hurt. But just saying the phrase puto, I don't think it, man.
Yeah, I feel like where you're coming from, but if I tell a buddy like to do a tequila shot, and I'm like, no seas puto. Me personally, it's always been like Hyman said, like, just don't be a bitch, man. Like, take the shot. Not once in my mind have I thought like, yo, don't be gay, like, don't be a faggot, like, come on, take the shot. No, to me, puto means like, don't be a bitch. And I understand how people see a gay guy walking by and be like, hey, ese güey's puto. But I think the problem is, I don't think it should be said in the stadiums. Like if I was an American, it would be like, hey, this is a family event. Bring the kids here. Like, whatever the case might be. So let's not have those words around. But don't come out and try to get rid of it because you dictate what the culture is, what Mexican culture is. That's my problem with it. And then the other thing, when you go to the games and you go to the supporter sections, you'll hear, ref, suck a dick. Ref, you're a bitch. So where's all the claims about sexism and shit like that? Like, you can't pick and choose like what you approve and what you don't.
Hey, we had Canadians booing the entire anthem, and nobody did shit about that. And that's an anthem, bro.
Yeah. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Well, see, this is the whole thing that the chant had already been around for almost 15 years by the time it became problematic. So, and it was more because due to social media, right? Height of cancel culture, during the World Cup, and so that that's at the time that's when we were seeing people getting canceled and fired. You posted something on social media and it was seen as such thing, and so now you know people would be tagging wherever you worked or whatever, trying to get you fired, and it was at the height of that, and that I think a lot of people were trying to champion causes because it's almost like it felt like I guess their moment to shine or whatever, and I guess there was people from the U.S. turning it. They agree with you guys' take on the word, and it's here where they made it. They looked up the translation or whatever, and they decided this is what it meant, and this is how it's being used, and it's why it became such a big issue because then they got, through social media, they got everyone involved, and Mexico has such a big presence in the U.S. that they had to pay attention. But I think we're at the tail end of this. I don't think it's going to this San Diego thing. I think it's going to be as big as MLS makes it. See, I think if they don't pay much attention, it'll go away. And the more they fight it, the more the people are going to want to do it.
I don't know, Joel, because the entire MLS package is on Apple, and obviously Apple is very liberal and stuff, and they take this shit super serious. So I'm curious to see if there will be repercussions from this.
But I mean, you could control that. Like if you could just mute replace the ambience. Because I guess I was saying like you go to the stadium and you're right, you don't want to hear stuff like that at a family event and whatnot. But you can't control what other people are saying, and there's drunk people talking mad shit or talking about whatever. You're still gonna hear things, and much worse. It's like,
and on that point, I just want to bring up something to bring it a lot closer to home for you guys. It's the fact of why do you think that when you watch a Chivas game, you always hear Chante screaming, "Arriba las Chivas!" every single time that the opposing goalie clears.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that you hear the Guadalajara, Guadalajara, Guadalajara fucking theme when all of that is happening? There's a reason why they need to drown out the fans and the sounds of the stadium for American and even just domestic broadcast.
That's pretty much it. I think Mexico, no one cares.
Speaking of bringing it closer to home, I got a question for you, California guys. So, San Diego's called, I think it was America's finest city or something. And, watching from the games, we were talking about, Fresa Pumas fans. To me, the LAFC fans seem like the Fresas. Or, they seem more I don't know. I don't know if what's the term, but they don't seem so hood or whatever. But when I was watching the San Diego game, it was a bunch of hood ass looking ass dudes, all tatted up, shirtless and shit. And then so that's where the puto chant came from, from them motherfuckers, and which was surprising because that's not MLS Mexican American behavior. That's straight up paisa behavior. So
we're right next to the border, bro.
Yeah.
So
so that's my
got
question.
Mario Logan,
So
you got Chula Vista.
They follow. You're in San Diego, bro.
Are San Diego's the Beaners?
Damn, bro.
There's
do you guys see yourself above the San Diego guys?
Rifalo knows because he lives out there. So
yeah, man, the whole south side is Mexico Junior, bro. So it does go pretty hard down here. But I wanted to touch on one thing in regards to the P chant, and that's that it can be utilized as a weapon against our people to further dehumanize us during this political time in which we have deportations and the vilification of Mexicans as bad hombres, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't like it because it's bad press for Mexicans, and it's gonna be fodder for some who want to characterize us as homophobes. But the reality is, like some of us have said, Mexico can be very open to the LGBT community and has been historically, if we really look into it. especially these last few years. But yeah, I'm not for it. But the people here are very Mexican. We're right next to TJ. Anyways, I just wanted to add that.
LAFC just scored a third goal, 3-0, 80th minute. I've been to Snapdragon Stadium. I think that's what it's called. I went to go cover Wrexham versus Manchester United, and it's definitely not in a bad area. It's in a nice area, and the fans were very respectful and stuff. I can't speak to San Diego games. I haven't been to any of those matches, but I could see it getting ratchet for sure. But at the end of the day, it's still MLS. I'm surprised Chucky can draw that many Mexicans, bro. I don't know. He seems kind of washed up to me, but
hey, he had their first assist in club history, and then he tore his hammy. But
oh man, that's so funny.
Hold on, is that confirmed? It was his hammy?
I don't know, man. He just went on a run and he just like stopped and he asked for his sub. So I'm assuming it was his hammy. Like it was like non-contact.
I'm going to apply to the credentials for San Diego, so hopefully I get to go.
He's out for the season, bro.
That's what I was going to ask you, Rifela, if you had applied already or not.
I haven't. I'm going to start applying to a Cholos one too.
Lagging it, homie.
I know.
Say Cantina is an LGBTQ Latin press thing, so they won't be able to ban you, man. After the whole puto chant, like they wouldn't be on good terms.
I know, man. We've even relabeled it to the piss chant, right? The P chant or the miedos chant, if you will.
Hey.
Gonna go over some Liga MX results because there were some really good matches this weekend. Starting with America Toluca, man. That game, I know it was heavily one-sided, 3-0. Some controversy there with a goal that was called not a goal or something like that. But at the end of the day, man, this is America's title to win. I mean, it's them against them at this point, and that definitely was confirmed on Saturday. Honestly, for me, the match of the weekend was that Monterrey Santos game. It was very good. Ended up 4-2, but it was back and forth. Santos actually started things with the 1-goal lead, and then Bertrame tied it up, and then Sergio Ramos got his goal. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He's a center back. I don't know. I had no idea what he was doing in that play, but he scores his first goal in Liga MX, had quite a celebration. And then the funniest thing about that is he immediately gets burned on a breakaway, and Santos tie up the game 2-2. This was the 64th minute, but there was still more goals to come. Sergio Canales makes it 3-2, and then Gerardo Arteaga with a pinche golazo makes it 4-2. I was entertained.
Now, something that I wanted to touch about really quickly, and you brought it up yourself, is I don't know how Ron and Ricardo do it to cheer for a team that has such blatant fucking corruption and just shithousery, to where the goalie, it's on camera, it's on tape, it's everywhere, where it's clearly visible that the goalie goes into the box and pulls out that ball. That should not have been a goal, which would have made the game considerably closer. Furthermore, the whole issue with this is the fact that, hey, it's not even that we don't have the technology. It's just the fact that the license for the Eagle Eye is so ridiculously expensive that Mexico cannot afford it. That's the reason why we haven't implemented Eagle Eye. And let's be honest, it's something that is desperately needed in our league. Shit, bro, the fucking NFL is about to implement it in this next season for the short downs, right? That's how they're getting rid of the chains. That's how they're doing all of these things. So as it's becoming more popular and more widely used across different leagues and different sports, why isn't that we cannot implement something that is so desperately needed in our own home league?
How many years did Cruz Azul play there?
What? Ciudad de los Deportes?
Yeah.
Por lo menos 8. Un chingos, güey.
and they couldn't never install those goal line technology. Oh,
Did you not hear? It's not so much the technology isn't there; it's the fact that the license to have that technology and the license would have to be purchased by la Federación Mexicana de Fútbol.
No, it's setting up cameras. That's what it boils down to. Because it just boils down to putting cameras in the stadium. Now I get the stadium is very uncomfortable, and there's not a lot of room for it. But the thing here's the thing with that type of play. Any view that you're getting, okay, you're basically getting a parallax effect. So there's a displacement. So the thing about it is
distortion. Yeah.
So here's the thing. The official has to be 100% certain that it went in, and if he doesn't have that certainty, he can't call it. That's just those are the rules of the game. And unfortunately, they don't have the view that they should have to see if the goal went in. There's a lot of other stadiums in Mexico that have it. You know, Stadium Azteca, they have it and stuff like that. But it just boils down to that, unfortunately, that stadium, and I get it. You know, it's not Cruz Azul Stadium. You have to think, well, why am I going to spend money on a stadium that isn't mine? But you would think that, I forget the guy's name, the owner of Ciudad de los Deportes. Maybe we'll take the beef with him about that. You know, why haven't you invested in your stadium?
You know, Ron, I'd believe you if this was the first thing to go America's way ever. But, you know, I've seen too much. It's been year after year. America gets favorable calls. It's like peanut butter and jelly. They go hand in hand, right? So
question, before that play, what about the 9 players?
9 players.
No, that was after that play. That was way.
Yeah. I'm a little lost there.
What I'm saying is, Toluca was going to lose that game regardless, in the sense because America was just, let's just say they were superior. But
that's not true.
I agree.
No, you know, if it makes it 2-1, there's no guarantee that he makes those subs and puts in more foreigners. You know, he probably keeps the same lineup if the team's keeping it close. Why switch things up? You're just assuming they would have lost the game. And also, does it have to be that Skyview? Don't like the leagues in Europe, they got a chip in the ball and they got some like magnets on the post.
I was gonna say, man,
crosses, it rings underwater.
Your audio's fucked, dude.
No, it ain't me.
I'm up as fuck, bro. Fuck.
No, it wasn't me. I was me.
I don't know whose audio is.
I think it's Gorditos, man. I hate to call you out, bro.
What happened?
The audio is just cracking. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I got sensors on my windows, on my doors. I know when the door unlocks and locks. How do we not have something simple like that within the ball? Like a chip, and then the goal has the other chip, and it's just like, bro, there's so many ways to fix this with technology.
I'm not even convinced that we don't have those things. Like, whose word are we taking that they don't have it? Like, that's just the excuse they came out with.
Televisas?
Yeah,
no,
right?
They wouldn't do something like this. Not the television network that promoted a certain candidate to become the president of Mexico. Not the TV station that owns a soccer team. No, güey, no soy tan pendejo.
Gordito, you're sitting on the mic. What up, dude? What's going on? Yeah, it sounds really bad, FC. You got to fix it. Feel free to enter or leave and then re-enter. We'll get you speaking again. I have a new speaker that wants to join us. Don V, how you doing? Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for requesting to speak.
What's the V stand for? What's the V for?
I was just listening to what Diaz was saying about, not getting better cameras in there, and he really hit the mark. If it just goes with whatever America says, if they were or wanted implemented, it would already gotten done.
Yeah, I always think it comes down to money, and what either they're not willing to pay it, or it comes down to money always.
They have the money.
Yeah, it comes down to money, man. And it's not like that play happens like almost like one every 5 years. Like I think this tournament's already happened like 3 times. Like there's no way they can like just require the teams to like do the chip. And at the same time, sometimes they give you great memes or sad memes, like the Gudinho one, where they edited his baby into like taking the ball out, pinches culeros. But that was a result of that. The ball had crossed the line, it hadn't crossed the line. Like that play happens every single tournament. And then speaking of every single tournament, have you guys noticed the majority of the teams are ass? I realized that last year, 10 teams had a negative goal difference. And this year, same thing. 10 teams have a negative goal difference. That means, like, out of 18, only 8 teams are doing, like, decent.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like kind of like what MLS does is they just want to see a lot of goals, so they don't really care about defending. But yeah, there's been a lot of shady calls. I mean, we talked about the one with Pulido where he scored and he was offside, and they edited the audio, and there was no foot. It was super sus, bro. I just hate that, like, when you score a goal, you have to always like hold back celebrating because they still have to clear every goal, and it's like, dude, it takes forever, and it takes away from the excitement and the momentum. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It's too slow.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan how it takes forever. Like it takes forever on plays, like to decide something that's like super obvious. Like you'll see that's like 5-6 minutes, like to decide a play that should be like a quick 50 seconds. And you see it in Europe. It's the same play happens, quick 50 minutes, and in Liga MX, they let the ref know. They're like, "Hey, we're checking this out." They spend like 4 minutes checking that out, and then they're like, "You know what? You might want to come and look at this." And then he goes and looks at it for a minute. The thing I've never understood is why the fuck didn't you just have him go in the first place?
I know.
Like right away.
Yeah.
Instead of taking 5 minutes to review a damn play.
Yeah, that's why.
Wait, because first they have to swallow that mouthful of torta, because as we all know, that's what VAR is doing. They're up there eating tortas.
That's why I didn't celebrate the Rey goal in that game against Pumas, because I'm like, they're probably going to call him offside, even though he was rightfully onside. And it took forever for them to clear it out. So I'm like, whatever, dude.
So I thought something that Habibi said was really interesting, and he's like, why do so many teams suck so much, or like why do they have negative goal differentials? And I think like there's a few reasons to it. Like a lot of these teams are like half baked or like half abandoned or in a moment of transition, like Chivas or Santos. They're just on fire, and the rebuilding process is happening halfway through the season. I also think that we have like these really top heavy teams that, even though sometimes they're in flux, like Tigres right now with like, the new coach who used to be the player, but they're in third place, right? Like they have so much quality that they can like make up for some of the chaos that they undergo, right? So like this, that, and like some of the corruption that we were just talking about and ineptitude, it just plays against like some of these teams, and they have trash seasons, and it's unfortunate, but it's something that we're seeing more and more throughout the league.
I will say, though, I have been enjoying the resurgence of Necaxa this season. You always have teams that kind of like, take off. I know that Necaxa have been kind of like the doormat for a long time, but it is nice to see teams like that come up.
Yeah, speaking of teams that are nice to come up, has there been a Liga MX team that has finished the season undefeated? Because right now, Leon, man, they're making, it's still only 10 games, but they're undefeated, man. They have like 2 draws, and the rest is all wins. They're looking good.
I know Chemos might have done that, right? Or got close.
We got very close. We got very, very close. But if we want to talk about Leon and about taking L's, bro, they just took one of the biggest L's in like Mexican soccer history. They just had one of their players get kidnapped, get carjacked, and then get dumped in the middle of the fucking desert.
So I heard he only got carjacked. I heard that the kidnapping and all that other stuff was just extra crema on the tacos. But it still sucks. It's still lame for the guy.
I don't know, man. What I heard is that he was disappeared since Wednesday, and he didn't turn up until Friday. The Santos security detail was aware of the situation to the point where even players were concerned for his safety and wondering if they should be paying the ransom. It wasn't until way later that once again Santos security was able to find him because as of that point, the only players on the Santos roster who had personal security was that of James.
Damn.
No, man, I heard that Leon Directiva, they wanted to bring in professionals to handle the situation. So they called in Alan Pulido to go rescue him.
That's a good one.
Nuestro propio daredevil.
But onto how Leon is playing, I wouldn't glaze them too hard just yet. The only two people that I think, actually, they faced three big teams in that they beat Tigres, they tied Toluca 3-3, and they tied America, right? So they haven't really proven themselves against the very best significantally. So I'm still kind of on the fence with them, and I thought Cholos had them up against the ropes. I think they came back from 1-0 and then to win it 2-1. I forget. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they don't look invulnerable, is what I'm trying to say about Leon. And they have yet to really convince me that they are the real deal. But yes, just like Habibi said, they are technically undefeated thus far.
Yeah, I don't think they're the real deal. I think, it's just been, good momentum, having James, the whole locker room vibing. But I think the biggest thing for Leon.
I hear an echo.
I think it's Ron.
There you go.
I think the biggest thing for Leon. It's Ron again. There we go. The biggest thing for them, man, I think is going to happen what happens to all these teams, especially James, new to the season. They think they're flying, they think they're hot, and then they hit Liguilla, and they're not ready for the different animal that Liguilla is. And it's kind of upsetting, too. You finish in first place, and then here you are in Liguilla, and then you get knocked out by a team that's in 10th place.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
So there is one guy I did want to shout out from Leon named Angel Estrada, 22-year-old center midfielder, starter, and scored a goal in the 2-1 victory over Cholos. This guy's 6 foot, so just someone to look out for. Plays for Leon, Angel Estrada. Look out for that dude.
Yeah, man. What I'm interested about Leon too is for the World Cup. I don't know if you guys touched on it. That rumor that they're gonna be allowed to bring in 6 recruits just for the Club World Cup. I'm curious to see who Leon would get, or they would get Liga Mex players or Pachuca players Rondon, Sidris, and those type of guys.
Isn't Pachuca?
They have 3 or 4. They are, but Leon has 3 or 4 Colombian guys.
Oh, you're right.
I think they're
Pachuca
trying to get, instead of Messi and friends, we got James and friends in Mexico. And
yeah,
that's what I think they're gonna go with in Leon.
Hell yeah, Luka Modric,
or something like that.
Marcelo. No, we'll see. We'll see if he has any Real Madrid connects or, probably Cuadrado, Colombian guy.
Oh yeah, he's been rumored with joining Leon.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It's also going to be weird to see players that belong to other institutions, just on loan play for another club. Yeah, it reminds me of Cardoso playing for Cruz Azul. I always thought that was fucking weird.
I liked it. It was like a crossover for me, bro. Like, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that Cruz Azul.
It's también the Corona to Chivas en la Libertadores.
Yeah, had Peralta too. We had Peralta.
I will say, if anything, this will like bring life back into Ron and give him all of those Copa Libertadores feels that he's been missing for all these years.
I mean, honestly, yeah, he'll be watching Mexican teams compete against European teams, Saudi teams, South American teams. You ever seen that Randy Marsh meme where he's in front of the computer, like cream over the place? That's gonna be Ron.
You mean it's ectoplasm? It's ectoplasm. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer. We also have confirmed 2 opponents that Mexico will be playing in anticipation of the Nations League. They're gonna be playing friendlies against Switzerland and Turkey, and they're gonna be playing in Utah and in North Carolina for those matches.
That seems like really weird venues for
Very
the usual
weird.
Mexico. Mormon land and
Shout out
what
to
is
my
it?
Mormons in Utah.
What is it? The Appalachians in Carolina or something like that? Bigfoot or some shit. I mean, they're going to white country. I guess it's an away game for Mexico. They're like, fuck it. Let's go to some white territory.
Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Man, it's crazy. I can believe the World Cup's coming up. You know, actually,
They're not going to be away games, man. You know, Rasa's going to show up to both these games hard.
I don't know, man. I've never met Mexican Mormons. I met Mexican Jehovah Witnesses, but not Mormons.
Let me tell you, bro, they exist, dude. Mormons are going hard in Central America. They're recruiting hard, bro. And like South Mexico, they're going building like huts and then building little churches to convert all these people. The whole thing, bro. So,
Dude, you know why I don't trust them?
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
Oh, I wasn't like, what? I guess not.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, in Mexico, there's a big Mormon community too.
Damn, bro, you gotta get your mic checked, son. We gotta start a GoFundMe for everyone. Just get a $20 headset from Apple, bro. Those are the miracle workers here.
But yeah, you know, I don't trust about them Jehovah Witness, Mormons. Well, for a lot of things, but the main thing, bro, on my social media, like Facebook and stuff, I'll be getting like videos of like blonde girls, blue eyes, speaking Spanish, like, vengan a nuestra iglesia, hablamos español, Jehovah los quiere. I'm like, what thirst trap is this, man? Y'all guys really trying to recruit out here.
Damn, bro, your algorithm is cooked, dog. I don't get those. Oh man, that's funny. Anything else? We do have some friendlies out here in the Bay Area. We have Chivas coming to town, and they're gonna play against Atlas at PayPal Park on March 20th, which I think is the same day La Selección plays. And then I also did apply to cover the Oakland Roots home opener at the Oakland Coliseum. And I'm going to try and talk to Jurgen Damm because he's out here now. I'm sure he'd be down to hop on the podcast. I'll see what I can do. You guys got any other burning topics?
Make sure to ask Damm if he learned how to cross finally.
Oh, I ain't gonna do that, bro. They'll revoke my pass.
Also,
you guys can ask him that.
Check out his Facebook page. He shares a lot of like personal stuff on his Facebook page. So you could probably like get like 1 or 2 icebreakers for conversation. So he's actually like, oh, he actually like knows me to somewhat of a degree. Not just generic stuff. And then as far as like Oakland Roots, oh, never mind. I was thinking it was San Diego Loyal. Wasn't who did San Diego steal from?
Yeah, it was the Loyal. It was the Loyal.
The San Diego Loyal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, never mind. I was confusing them with Oakland Roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind.
I want to say the San Diego Loyal was like a passion project, and I want to say Landon Donovan was also involved. He was a coach at one point or chairman, and then some rich guy just came in and said, "Fuck it, like I'm gonna just take your shit and do my own thing," and he paid the franchise fee and started his own team, but has nothing to do with the Loyal. And I think a lot of loyalists were upset with that.
Damn.
If anything, that just showed the special interest of MLS, where they will choose money over a fan base because you can very easily buy a fan base, which is really sad and disheartening.
I will say what's really interesting in the USL, because it's weird. The USL is kind of not like they don't have the best relationship with MLS. Like I always thought that the USL was like the second division of MLS, but it really isn't. It's like its own independent league. And I think they've gone on record saying that they want to like, you know, like start like the regulation promotion pyramid, and they're going to try to compete with MLS, kind of like how XFL did it and how AFL did it back in the, 60s. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting how this all pans out.
I do feel like there's some infighting there because like the US Open was like restructured. So now MLS doesn't take it seriously and the USL doesn't have like any real platform to compete and show themselves to be like a competitor to the MLS like they used to when the Open Cup was taken more serious by MLS teams. So I am interested to see how that's going to turn out. Good point to bring up.
The US Open Cup was honestly the greatest thing about soccer in America. It's like the FA Cup in England, bro. Like you had some teams that were literally like a taco shop, make it all the way to like, like the round of 32 or round of 16. I was there last year. There's this team from San Francisco. They're a burrito place, and they made it really, really far, and they got to play against the Oakland Roots. So it's like, dude, it's like literally like a Sunday team that was like that made a crazy run, and you hear about it all the time in the U.S. Open Cup. But yeah, with like the new restructure, like the chances or opportunities of them facing like an MLS team are very, very low. So they really, unfortunately, like bashed that project. I think it's the oldest tournament in the States too, so it has a lot of prestige and history.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for sure.
Well, for sure, folks, we're at the 2-hour mark. I want to give everyone their opportunity to have their closing thoughts. I really enjoyed everyone's participation, new voices today too. FC Gorditos, we'll get you back in, man. Hopefully your mic's fixed.
Look, really quickly, whoever needs a mic, send me a DM. I'll mail you one for free. I have a fuck ton of them.
Dude, I got a new one y no sé qué pasó. It's just acting crazy right now.
Yeah. Ahí estás, papá. Por fin puedo oír tu hermosa voz. Dime,
Wait,
¿qué pedo?
I was on the laptop y mejor me cambié el phone. Parece que it works better on the damn phone than on the damn laptop.
Yeah, just a pro tip. Hardwired headphones over any fancy like even AirPod, Bluetooth. Like you could have like $300 Bluetooth headphones. Just a plug-in headset is the best quality.
That's what I had y de repente it just stopped working. Some kind of squeaky noise estaba saliendo or...
No, it just sounded like, a lot of
You were a robot, man.
Yeah, it was pretty
bad.
Really?
Robotic and stuff? Bueno.
Televisa sabotage, man.
For real. Dude, Emmy was like, hey, desde que quise decir the whole is el Estadio Azteca going to have the eagle eye or not? Desde allí it all went downhill.
Bueno, miren, chavos, rapidito y caliente. I'll give you guys my closing thoughts. And I don't want to spend too much time on this because I've been preaching it. I've been talking about it. And it's the fact that Cruz Azul is still stumbling every fucking jornada. Week after week, the team isn't performing the way it's supposed to. It's not functioning correctly. It's one of those things where, once again, you're having to wonder, why are we keeping this coach? Why are we playing the entire tournament under an interinato, right? Which they're refusing to call it that. As of right now, all they keep saying is like, oh, vamos a ver, las cosas están marchando en buen paso, this and that. But there has been zero commitment to either the coach or even the idea of bringing somebody else in the long term. As of right now, we're about to go against Seattle Sounders. Now, Seattle Sounders is my former home club. I spent a lot of time in their Barra Brava. I spent a lot of time covering the team. I spent a lot of time setting roots there. And one of the things is that they do play an aggressive style of football. To at this point, the way that Cruz Azul has been stumbling, be careful because tomorrow we could get the surprise that none of us want. And to see an MLS team take a win over a Liga MX club. So those are my closing thoughts. We need to do something better. Cruz Azul needs to play for something because as of right now, the way the team is functioning, we're not going to win the cup. We're not going to win Liguilla. If anything, we're going to do a deep run because it's Cruz Azul. It's what we do, right? Pero no veo que se nos llene la vitrina con este cuerpo directivo.
Yeah, I sadly watched that Mazatlan Cruz Azul game on Friday. That shit was pathetic. And you guys fumbled the bag at the end. And I feel like, wow, I want my money back. I want my 2 hours back.
Yeah, no, man, it definitely was. And I was just like, what the fuck is happening here, dude? Like, trust me, when Cruz Azul loses, my entire family loses. And my wife is getting tired of it, guys.
Hey, man, you're a glue-sniffing Chemo, but saying that you're going to lose to the MLS, relax, my guy. You're not a Pumas team.
What are you talking about? He has a half Seattle, half Cruz Azul jersey ready to go for tomorrow.
Y la compré en el tianguis, no hasta que sean de donde soy.
So are you what's called a transformer?
Actually, hey, gorditos, give me those sounds again.
Ni sé cómo se escuchaba. I'll just go bleep, 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 bleep.
Just pretend you were chewing on wire.
Así de gacho, goddamn.
SC Gorditos, why don't you go next with your closing thoughts?
You know what? Lo único que voy a decir es que I'm ready for whatever happens en los clásicos. And if the unexpected happens, no quiero que Ron se esconda. We'll be here lo que pase. I don't know if he'll show up or not. That's all for my closing thoughts.
Well, to add to that, my closing thought is I think Chicharito probably played his best game he has with Chivas against Pumas. I don't know if that had to do hand with the coach being his best buddy and like setting up the team in his benefit. But when Chicharito went to United, like I forget the guy's name, Melendez or whatever, he took him with him. So that's like his boy. So I know they're bringing in Jerry Espinosa now. But, he had a lot of success with Tapatio. So the idea is they're going to see a lot more youth players coming up. Hopefully that happens. But, just a recap of everything we talked about, it just shows how beautiful Liga MX is. Because if you look at, like, the top teams, León with a kidnapping, America with the robbery on the ball crossing the line, Tigres in third place, who their player retires and the next day he's the coach. Toluca fielding way too many foreigners. Like those are your top four. Like what other like league in the world do your top four teams have those type of controversies all in the same weekend? And that's not even. And there's more. Like like sit down. Like there's more coming. Like
oh yeah,
that's just beautiful, man. It's like that meme with the guy in the cigarette. Like joder, esto cine. Like. Shit, man. If you want like WWE scripted football, Liga MX is definitely it. But as far as like Chivas, America, and all that, man, I'm fed up with these players. I said it before. I'm fed up with Amauri. I'm fed up with the players. I think the coach that comes in, it's always going to be a poor sap. He might get a little bit more juice out of the players than the last guy. But at the end of the day, the players are trash, man. Like, the roster is trash. Like, I just said Chicharito is, just had his best game with Chivas since he's been back. But that motherfucker needs to be retired, bro. ya acabó. Ya es un abuelito. He's 36 years old. Maybe he comes in as a super sub at max. Pinchi Cone Brizuela, he's still on the team, and he was handing out notes like if he was an assistant coach. Pocho, like he's not playing because he's like hitting the bumps. Like Pulido is like the only one that looks decent. Cambreros, obviously, Cambreros needs to leave Chivas ASAP. Like he needs to make a move, develop a little bit bigger and like head of Europe. Like you can't let that mediocrity like bring him down. But him and the kid from Cholos, I'm really interested to see whether they're like 5 years from now. Those two kids like look special. That they can definitely that Liga MX will be too small for them. And speaking of Liga MX being too small, Fidalgo, man. Fidalgo from America. I know we say America roba, America esto. Pero pinche Fidalgo, man. Es un crack. He reminds me of when Guido was at America and like he left to Betis. Reminds me like that domination. Like when Guido was at America, that was like the best midfielder in Liga MX by far. And Fidalgo, same thing right now. La Liga le queda muy pequeña. I think he'd be an idiot to accept a Mexican national team call up because I think he could like make a move to Spain, play for Betis or something, and earn a Spain call up.
No,
I think
he won't, bro.
No, I think he would, man. No, like he's not no Xavi, no Iniesta, but I think he could earn like a third string, second string call up for the Spain's national team. Because if you look at it, they have like their top 12, but he could be like that 18 to 24 guy in that team. Like he could definitely earn a call up. But if he stays in Liga MX and they convince him, by far Mexico's best midfielder. By far. Like that dude's fucking good, bro. But yeah, those are my closing thoughts.
For sure, Habibi. It's nice to have you back. And, I've been asking for Fidalgo to suit up for the national team. We've had worse players like Charlie suit up. Why not get Fidalgo? He's been in Mexico for a long time. He's instrumental to the title runs for America. It's about time. All right, who's next?
I guess I'll go next. All right, everyone. My Jovenazo rundown is 62 for this week. So all the players 23 years old and younger, 62, which is 16%. Last week it was 18%, so we see a 2% drop. I think it was because of the double jornada everyone's coming back from, and then the CONCACAF Champions League for people that participated. Who do I want to shout out? I wanted to shout out San Luis's Eduardo Aguila, 22-year-old center back. He was called up by Vasco. I think he has 28 matches for San Luis. I know they lost to Atlas 3-1, but I do like this guy, and Aguirre likes him. So look out for this dude. Aguila is his last name. And then we already talked about Luis Rey, who got the late winner, 22-year-old center back. He looks like to finally be coming into the first team, which is great for him. I know Pumas lost to Chivas, but they got these two center backs, dude. 20-year-old Angel, I can't even say his last name, Azuegue, 20-year-old center back. And then they got Jonathan Flores, 18-year-old center back. Promising guys. I thought they outmuscled the Chivas offense throughout the match pretty well early on. And I was like, who the fuck are these, strapping young lads? And that's who they are, man. Watch out for those guys. Let's see who else we got. Tigres. In their win against Necaxa, they finally beat Larcamón, who's been flying high. Bernardo Para, 20-year-old center midfielder, 5'10". He was a starter for them. I never seen this guy. So now he's starting for Tigres as they're winning. It just sparked my interest. And then who else we got? That's it. Those are all my shout outs for the Jovenazos this week. Thanks for having me, everyone. Good stuff.
Hell yeah, Rifado. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. Ron, are you still on? You got anything to add?
Yeah, I'm still here. I guess having a hard time thinking how, because I've been working on this and it's a work in progress. It says, hoy fui diferente, me topé con alguien, creo que sin querer. 3 veces te engañé, 3 veces te engañé, 3 veces te engañé. So basically it's going to say, 3 veces te ganaré, 3 veces te ganaré, 3 veces te ganaré. La primera por obligación, la segunda por tradición, la tercera por mamón. So that we're good there, right, guys? Guys, I need your input. Come on, get serious.
So far, so good, Ron.
I like it.
All right. So then, después de esas 3 veces, y después de esas 3 veces, no quiero volverte a ver. So I need to work on that one. Any suggestions?
Man, my suggestion is that you're facing Chicha Abuelo, cross-eyed, Nene Beltran. Like, calm down, buddy. You're not playing like the best team in the league, all right? You're playing a C team.
Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Ron, what was that clip?
Is it one of those,
that clip?
like that chant in the UK? We're nothing special. No. What is it? We lose every week. We lose every week. You're nothing special. We lose every week.
Yeah, I love it.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't know if it's from all the losses at this point, but I don't even like the Clásico against America. Like, doesn't really like ignite something.
It's not even a Clásico anymore. It's not a fair fight.
Dude, the Atlas one is the one I can't stand to lose. I just hate those goth emo pants on their ankles, criminal motherfuckers.
Now, really quickly, just to touch base on that. Recently, there was Record who did it? They were having interviews with America fans outside of the stadium, and they were asking them, who's your biggest rival, right? Who do you guys see as your number one contender to go against? Who's the one that makes your blood boil? And everyone was saying it's Cruz Azul. Chivas is no longer a rival. Pumas has been nuestro pendejo for years. As of right now, our number one rival is Cruz Azul. It's el Clásico Joven. That's the biggest one that they look forward to. So, yeah, you're right.
¿Qué la América no le metió 7 al Cruz Azul?
Güey, y la próxima jornada nosotros le metimos 4. Like, por eso se llama una rivalidad.
Talk as much as you want about Chivas. Never see them put 7 against Chivas. And knock on wood.
I mean, I saw them put 5 on you guys, too.
But nah, bro. You know what I thought you were going to say? You had me in the first half. You actually did. But when you came out with Chemos, I know you're bullshitting. They were going to say Tigres.
No,
that's
watch
what I
the tape.
You're going to say. Tigres and America
I'll find it and I'll post it.
Bigger rivalry than America Chivas.
Tigres won like what, 5 in the last decade, so they're definitely
Yeah. Shut the fuck up talking about Chemos. Nobody cares about Chemos. Go back to paint sniffing.
Joel, you're up next, buddy.
Yes, sir. I'll be mad. Yeah, man. No, it's just a BB saying he lost that mojo. But I think Puligol, I think he shines in these big games. I don't think he's had a big game, and I think he knows cameras are going to be on him. I could see him being this player that can impulse the club. And I think I can see Chivas putting a better fight than they're expected to. So I'm not too worried. I think these 3 games they could be good for the club. I think at this point they got more to win than to lose.
For sure. Yep. Look, guys, I have no expectations of this Champions Cup matchup against America. I just hope that they play respectable and try to do their best to show some pride in the jersey and the badge and not to embarrass us. I do want to give out some flowers. The first one is Jacqueline Ovalle, aka La Maga, scored arguably the goal of the year. Some crazy shit. I've never seen anyone flick a ball like that and end up in the back of the net. Whether it was intentional or not, it doesn't matter. She got it in, and have to give her flowers. It's getting a lot of attention outside of Liga MX, which is fucking awesome. So very happy for her. Very happy for Johan Vasquez. Got the Man of the Match award, scored a goal over there at Genoa. He's just killing it. And it's only a matter of time till he ends up somewhere else. I'm a big fan of the Bundesliga. I would love any excuse to follow Bundesliga again. Bundesliga has blessed our Mexican players, and I hope that's where he ends up. But there's also a rumor that he might join Raul Jimenez over at Fulham. So we'll see. But definitely want to give out my flowers to those two folks for killing it this past week. And yeah, I think that the Champions Cup matches tomorrow are going to be a little bit more attractive with Seattle Cruz Azul, obviously Chivas America, and I think Rayados will also play tomorrow. So that should be some good football on Ash Wednesday. And last thing, again, if you're local in the Bay Area, got nothing to do on March 22nd, looking to go into the Roots game. They have a really cool ambiance, and they're playing at the Coliseum where the Oakland A's used to play. And Too Short, yes, that's right, Todd Shaw will be performing. So it's going to be a good one on Saturday, March 22nd. And hopefully I'll be there in attendance taking photos. But that's all I got for y'all tonight. Thank you all for participating. Please get headsets. And we'll catch y'all in the next one.